Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. I'm sure you've heard the statistic that individuals are more afraid of public speaking than they're afraid of death. In fact, a study by Gallup indicated that 40% of individuals in the US are more terrified of public speaking than they are of death. Now, I'm not here to confirm or deny whether those statistics are true, because I know for myself that I was one of the individuals that was more fearful of speaking in front of a large crowd than I was of death, and that was not too long ago. So today what we're going to be addressing is a common fear that most individuals have, which is public speaking. And we're going to be speaking about why a lot of us actually have that fear. And it's not about the act of speaking itself, but rather it's that inner negative self-critic that's playing on repeat in our heads. So stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll have a couple of tools that you'll be able to use in order to silence that inner critic in your head, so that you'll have the confidence to go out there and speak to any crowd, no matter how small or big they are. Our inner critic is that voice in our head that second guesses our abilities, criticizes our performance, and amplifies our fears of public speaking. But here's the thing, our inner critic is not a reliable narrator, often based on unfounded fears and negative thinking patterns. For example, one of the reasons that I've always had this fear of speaking in public is because when I was still in school, I'll never forget that I participated in a play. And this play was a massive play. We had the entire school that was there to watch the play. And I took a role in this play. And I'll never forget, up on stage in front of this entire audience, I stepped out onto stage and I forgot all of my lines. I'll never forget embarrassment that I had that actually haunted me for a very, very, very long time. And a lot of that shaped my behavior for many years as a result of that one incident that happened. Now, you may not have had to go through something like that, but perhaps, it was something that you saw someone else doing that shaped your thinking patterns and your behaviors. But what is it that we can do to deal with this? First, we need to understand that our inner critic is not our enemy. It's just trying to protect us from perceived threats and failures. For example, me standing up on stage and forgetting my lines, I'll never forget, or at least my inner critic never failed to remind me of the embarrassment that I caused myself and the constant shame that I felt after that. So effectively, that inner critic was pretty much like an overprotective parent. It doesn't always know best, because that was one incident that happened when I was younger, and it was something that I held on to for a very, very long time. So the first step to overcoming that inner critic is to recognize it for what it is, a misguided protector. Now, the second step is to challenge that inner critic. When it says to you, what if you stumble? Ask, what if I speak fluently? When it says you'll bore the audience, ask, what if I captivate them? When it says you're not good enough, say, I am enough and I'm getting better every single day. Challenging your inner critic helps you to neutralize the power that it holds over you. The third step is to cultivate self-compassion. This is the antidote to self-criticism. Treat yourself as you would a dear friend. If your inner critic starts to nag, respond with kindness and understanding, as a dear friend would. Remember that everyone makes mistakes and has shortcomings. It's part of being human. And as a friend, you're not going to respond in a negative light. You're not going to respond with harsh criticism if that does happen. What really helped me to silence the critic and to show myself some self-compassion was to remind myself of the times when I was able to step outside of my comfort zone. And that was often when I was terrified of doing something and I actually did it. And yes, maybe I didn't perform as well as I would have liked. However, reminding myself that I did my best and I was able to get up there and I spoke in front of an audience just reminded me that I was doing my best, and it helped me to be that friend that I needed, especially in moments when I was terrified of standing up and speaking in front of a big crowd. Finally, replace the inner critic with an inner coach. This is a supportive, encouraging voice that acknowledges your efforts, celebrates your progress, and motivates you to keep going. Your inner coach is your biggest cheerleader, your source of encouragement and motivation. So to recap, recognize your inner critic as a misguided protector. Challenge the negative narratives. Cultivate self-compassion and replace the inner critic with an inner coach. Of course, this isn't an overnight process, but it's okay. Remember, it took me many, many years of that inner critic kind of playing on repeat in my head, because this happened when I was still in high school. And it was only when I was in my 30s that I decided to actually do something about it. So it took 20 years or so to get to that point. And it's not going to be an overnight process in order to replace that inner critic, but it's definitely worth it, because it's a journey of self-discovery and growth. But remember that every step that you take towards silencing that inner critic is a step towards becoming a more confident and effective public speaker. Picture it like climbing a mountain. Yes, it's a tough trek, but the view from the top, and in this case, the applause from your audience, is worth every single step. And remember, you're not in this alone. We all have that inner critic that we wrestle with from time to time. But by opening up and sharing our experiences, we can help each other become better communicators and more effective public speakers. So the next time the inner critic starts to speak up in front of a big talk or a presentation, remember the steps that we talked about today. Take a deep breath, challenge those thoughts, and remind yourself of your worth. You're awesome, and don't forget that. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. As always, I'm Clinton Middleton, and I'll see you in the next video.